Hello everyone and welcome back to Rogers Reports. I'm your host with the most Aston Villa content on YouTube. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe down below and comment your thoughts on what is about to be discussed in this video. My name is Rogers and I am delighted to say we are previewing the FA Cup semi-final, which finally involves Aston Villa again. We're playing Crystal Palace, a bogey team for us, but que sera, whatever will be. We're bloody at Wembley. But is it going to be as straightforward as trouncing through a team in the bottom half of the table and booking our ticket into the final? Well, absolutely not. We all know that Crystal Palace are a good team and they have got the one up on us many times since Emery has taken over. A couple of players in particular, their danger men. So we're going to be looking at everything, breaking it all down, the fixtures that we have currently and upcoming, our head-to-head Palace's fixtures, the predicted lineups, and then ultimately my score prediction. But first, let's have a look at how Aston Villa are doing in general. So as you can see on the screen, I'm not too worried about the fixtures that have come before. Yes, the one that I am worried about is that 2-1 loss against Manchester City. It does mean that the likelihood of us doing back-to-back qualifications to the Champions League via the Premier League is effectively over, as you can see, because of the PSG results. Qualifying back-to-back Champions Leagues through the Champions League is over, and it puts us in a tricky spot because we're currently 7th in the Premier League. Looks likely that we'll be 7th by about 2 to 3 points after we have played Crystal Palace, because obviously some Premier League games will be going on in the background, and that means, possibly only Conference League will be achievable through the Premier League. I'd like to think we have enough to possibly squeeze into 6th place and win win qualification to the Europa League, but it's not for certain. The teams around us are good, and as you can see, our fixtures are not easy by any stretch of the imagination. We've got Fulham, good team. What are they, like 8th, I think? 9th, maybe? Bournemouth, I think, actually the team that are in 8th. Then we've got Tottenham and United. Yes, they're in the bottom half of the table, further towards the relegation zone than the other two that we've mentioned. But they're still Tottenham and they're still Manchester United. Still good teams with good players on ridiculous amounts of money. Probably teams that are worth more than Villa's starting lineup. Players that are on more. So not that it counts for anything how much money a player's on, but you can tell they've got some quality. You can tell they've got some talent. Luckily for us, though, for the first time in what feels like ages, probably since that Nottingham Forest game, looking at it, or maybe even the Brighton game, or maybe even before that, actually the Preston game, we've actually got about a week off. We play tomorrow, which is Saturday, at 5:15, and then we do not play again until we play Fulham on Saturday at 12:30. So we've got a 7-day break, which means that we shouldn't have to think about resting any players for this game, because there is that balance. What is most important to Villa? Do we go for it in the FA Cup? A win in the FA Cup, or winning the FA Cup? Not only is it a major trophy coming back to B6, it's huge for a club. A lot of people say, you have to win one of those, like the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. That's what can progress you onto that next elite level. We've seen Newcastle do it this season with the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and even bigger and more prestigious competition. And it comes with that Europa League qualification, so we don't need to worry about where we finish in the league. It's just fantastic as well to win a major trophy. Would be absolutely brilliant. But is our focus more on the Premier League? We win those remaining 4 games and we could finish 5th. It's anyone's game in that top 7 at the moment. But I think we can't rest anyone. We have to go for it. It's a big game at Wembley. It's Crystal Palace, a team that have a really good record against us. We have to go for it, man. We have to. Now, in terms of Crystal Palace, they have got nothing to play for. They can't mathematically finish anywhere near qualification for Europe through the Premier League. They can't go relegated mathematically. They are just there. They're just staying. I think they're 12th at the moment in the league. So Palace, this is Palace's big chance, the FA Cup. This is their only chance to get Europe next season. So they are going to be well up for this. If we look at their form, they actually came into a decent patch of form a little bit earlier in the season, but they have fought, not that it means anything because they're really good against Villa, but they have slightly fallen off a bit, 5-2 loss against Man City, 5-0 loss against Newcastle, but then they've bounced back. A 0-0 draw against Bournemouth with 10 men. and then that 2-2 draw against Arsenal, Mateta coming back and scoring an absolute worldie in that game, means that they are coming back into a little patch of form just at the wrong time for Aston Villa. And we know that they're a bogey team for us. We know that they're a danger team. This is their Champions League now, this FA Cup. Premier League means nothing really. I understand, obviously it's still the Premier League. They're still going to want to play those games, win. They play even further away than a week. They play on Monday the 5th of May, so May Day bank holiday. But they've got nothing to play for in the Premier League. They could win all their games in the Premier League or lose all their games in the Premier League. It literally doesn't affect them in the slightest. But this is a chance for them to get Europa League next season. But what about our head-to-head, you may ask? Well, I've gone from 2022 onwards, starting with a 1-1 draw at Villa Park. They then beat us in the reverse fixture 3-1. We got a 1-0 win over them at Villa Park when they had a player sent off. Then another 3-1 victory. And then, to be fair, I don't know how much stakes I put into this one, purely because we'd already finished, we'd already had 4th place confirmed. It was the last game of the season, and let's be honest, we played kids, and I think half the players were still a bit buzzed up from the night before, but they beat us 5-0. And then this season, EFL Cup, I was at this game. Crystal Palace beat us 2-1. Probably deserved to win by more. At Villa Park, we could only do our best to scrape a draw, and then in the reverse fixture, they smashed us 4-1. So they're definitely the team in form out of the two head-to-heads going into this FA Cup semi-final. But what 11 players would I pick to cause damage to this Palace team? On the screen, maybe it's going to be controversial again, but I don't care for it because I think we need to go for it. We need to attack this game. We saw against Man City, we aren't at our best when we just play defensively, we sit back in and we don't express ourselves offensively. That's what we need to do. We can't be too polite. We need to be ruthless. When we are at our ruthless attacking best, we put 4 past Newcastle. We put 3 past PSG, one of the best teams in the world. So that's what we need to do today. Not today, tomorrow, today, whenever you're watching this video. But let's go through the team. Martinez in goal. Look, not having a great season. You know, Olsen has been confirmed to be leaving Aston Villa in the summer. Martinez going to be our number 1 again next season, you would imagine, even though we are being linked with the Chelsea keeper, the 25-year-old. Can't remember his name for the life of me. I do apologise. Mike Maignan from AC Milan is also a name apparently on the shortlist. So it looks like perhaps even in training, Martinez might not be up to his usual Yashin Trophy self. But he's going to be our keeper in these big games is where he shines. Look at what he done for Argentina in the World Cup and the Copa America. On the left-hand side, I have gone for Maatsen. That Digne performance against Man City solidifies for me that the changing of the guard is here. Maatsen's quick, he's energetic, he played really well defensively against Newcastle. A fantastic goal. You're never going to see Luca Digne score that type of goal. He outpaced Rashford almost to get up there and get that goal. Watkins to get up there and get that goal. I think the changing of the guard is here. Tyrone Mings is in the squad for one reason and one reason only, and its name is Jean-Philippe Mateta. I think maybe I've butchered that. Let me know in the comments, Crystal Palace fans, if you are here. Look, Mateta's a powerhouse. When we went to watch Palace against Villa in the EFL Cup, Mateta played with that tucked in shirt. The geezer looks about 7 foot tall. I'm not even joking. He actually looks about 7 foot tall when you're there in person. He is an absolute mountain of a man. He would bully Pau Torres into next week. Tyrone Mings is the obvious choice to match him physically, to match him in the air, and to try and keep him as quiet as possible. Konsa, because it's Konsa. No one's replacing Konsa in this team for my money. And then I've gone for Andres Garcia on the right hand side. We haven't seen him in a while. I don't think Matty Cash is playing very well. We see what happens when you bring on Dizazi against quick wingers, and that is exactly what Palace have. I'm thinking mainly about Ismaila Sarr, who has killed Aston Villa a couple of times already, especially this season when he got a hat-trick against us. In the middle of the park, I've gone for Kamara and Tielemans, and that is just to free up an attacking unit of 4 that I think could be equivalent to a dream that you would have where you feel like you're floating on a cloud through glorious football heaven. Kamara and Tielemans more than capable of being that double pivot, of doing that anchor role. We've seen them do it so many times this season. And again, they're going to be in there to counter the likes of Will Hughes and Adam Wharton. Both very, very good players in their own right. There is an argument to put Onana in there to counter those two getting control of the game. But Kamara and Tielemans are perfectly fine at that as well. Tielemans, I want a little bit further back in this game for his insane passing range and ability, because we move on to the front four. Now, we're killing them with pace on the wings. Rashford and Marlon, two of the fastest players I have seen this season. Get them on the wings, get them in behind. That would be very, very nice. Thank you. Now, if they're turning and going and playing on the shoulder of the last man when we are in transition, when we are in attack, then who is Tielemans going to fire the ball into? Watkins and Rodgers, who play in the middle as a 9 and a 10. They both like dropping deep and picking the ball up, bouncing it off to someone else and then trying to release. Or Watkins spinning in behind as well. Palace, decent team defensively, but as we've seen from their recent record, they are susceptible to conceding, and they are susceptible to conceding a lot of goals. And I just don't think you could start those four players up front and not at least get a couple of goals. And that's what we need to do. We need to get a goal nice and early. We need to score before Palace, get Wembley behind the boys and on top of that Palace team, and then we can go from their counter-attacking football. If you want to play counter-attacking football, that team can do it. If you want to play intricate little passes, that team can do it. That triangle of Kamara, Rodgers and Tielemans should be able to play around even in Real Madrid, to be honest with you. So that is the team I'm going for. And then that also leaves you with some fantastic options. Say it's 2-0, 2-1 late on in the game, or 60th minute, you need to get a bit of control. You can then take Rodgers, take Marlon off and push Rodgers over to the right-hand side and bring Onana on to get some physical control of the game in the middle. You've got Asensio on the bench to come on. You've got McGinn and Ramsey to come on, who can help get a little bit of dog back in the game, for want of a better word. You've got Digne if you want to. You've got Kashi. You've got Dizazi. Oh no, Dizazi's cup tied, sorry. But you've got Kashi for the right back position. I was going to say you have a sub at centre mid. Centre back. You could bring on Pau Torres if you want to just pass the ball around the back, because he's better at that than Mings. But that team should be able to get us to an FA Cup final, in my opinion. And there you have it. My FA Cup semi-final preview is done. Who will go through to the final now? I think with that team, with the stakes that Villa will put on this game, it really, really should be us. And I'm going to go bold for a 3-0 Aston Villa win at Wembley. Watkins, Rodgers and Marlon to get the goals, with Rashford to get 2 or even 3 assists in that game. And then who will we meet in the final? If we get there, it will be either Nottingham Forest or Man City. So this FA Cup journey is far from done. It's going to be far from easy. But the Lion has been awoken for a couple of seasons now, and it's about time it goes and grabs some silverware and brings it back to B6. I'll see you guys for the review of this game on either Saturday evening or Sunday, one or the other. I can't wait. I'm really, really excited. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, up the Villa.